Hey everyone, in this video we're going to look at the abdominal wall, and in the last video we were covering the looked like the abdomen and all the muscles there, and I kept saying we'll cover this in the next one, we'll cover it in the next one. Well, here's the next one. So we're going to look at the layers from the skin leading up to this parietal layer, so the layer that is there right before you start running into your intestines, okay? So what we did was we made the cuts and then we kind of just raised each layer behind it up a little bit so you can see it. And let's just dive right in. So number one, that's going to be your skin. And then directly behind that, that's going to be your adipose tissue or your superficial fascia is going to be in here as well, right in there. Number three, that's going to be your external oblique muscle. Okay, it's this muscle belly sitting right here. These lines right here are just depicting the angle at which the muscle fibers are going. So three, external oblique. Then we have four, this muscle right here. That's going to be internal oblique. Five is transversus abdominis, and muscle fibers going like this. Six, that's going to be your transversalis fascia, sitting right behind five. Seven, that is going to be your subserous fat or your extraperitoneal fat, with eight being that peritoneum or parietal peritoneum. Nine is going to represent your superior and inferior epigastric artery and vein, and that is coming up right here behind rectus abdominis, in between your internal oblique and transversus abdominis layers. 10 being rectus abdominis, and right in the middle, that's going to be your linea alba. One thing to note here is this lighter color that's coming off each muscle is representing what's called aponeurosis. It's another sheet of tissue that is wrapping around the muscle and then extending off of it. This is important. This is what I was trying to describe in the last video, is the arcuate line and how it changes. So let's go ahead and scoot down. So this is all the material for this page that you'll need to know. What you're looking at is a transverse cut of the abdomen above the arcuate line and below the arcuate line. Okay, and we see here's those muscle bellies that we were talking about. So remember, this is external oblique, internal oblique, and transversus abdominis. We have fascia layers sitting in between those. But if we're looking at this, we see that the aponeurosis of the green, and then we have a layer of purple coming in front and behind. So external and internal oblique coming around the front of that rectus abdominis. This is the rectus sheath and the anterior side of it, and this is the posterior side of the rectus sheath, which is also the layer of internal oblique and transversus abdominis. Whereas if we're looking at below the arcuate line, the aponeurosis for all three muscles come in front of the rectus abdominis muscle, and that creates the anterior rectus sheath. Below the arcuate line, we have a visual of the median umbilical ligament and the medial umbilical ligament. Median only has one. Medial is lateral to the median, and it has two. Here are the numbers to go with it. This picture right here is depicting what's called your falciform ligament, and this is coming from the liver, if you remember that. Moving on to the next picture. I have it labeled a little bit better, but 5 right there being transverse abdominis, internal oblique, external oblique, and then superficial fascia. Again, here's what we're talking about. Here's that posterior rectus sheath, anterior rectus sheath. Your superficial fascia sits right there in front of your external oblique. You have intermediate sitting in between that external oblique and internal oblique. And you have deep fascia, is what it's called, between internal oblique and transversus abdominis, with 6 being that transversalis fascia. Okay, fascia, it wraps everything. It's everywhere in the body. It is insane, the limits with it and the studies that are going on about it as well. Just thinking, we've got everything covered here. This comes from the textbook to help you see it. So this is above the arcuate line, below the arcuate line. Again, we see this rectus sheath and how it wraps your abs right here with the linea alba right there. Here's your fascia layers, and it's sitting in between each muscle. Here's this picture again, and hopefully it makes a little bit more sense. So we have the skin, we have this layer of fat, then right here it's going to be that fascia, that superficial layer. Then we have external oblique, then we have that intermediate layer of fascia, then we've got internal oblique, deep layer of fascia, transversus abdominis, layer of fascia. It just lines up one right after the other with peritoneum, and the deep part with skin, being superficial. So that is going to be it for this video. Hopefully it's helpful seeing the pictures and seeing it colored out. I know this one really stumped me for a while until I was able to figure it out. So hopefully the video helps. If it does, please like it, and we'll see you in the next one.
All right, I just want to give credit where credit is due. These are the books and the resources I used for the videos. So first we have Essentials of Human Anatomy by Dr. Kurt Walker. We then have Essential Clinical Anatomy by Keith L. Moore and M.R. Auger and Arthur F. Daly. I also used Structure and Function of the Human Body by Mark Nilsson and Jamie Garbett. The last book I have is The Concise Book of Trigger Points by Simon Neil Asher. And then I used the app called Complete Anatomy. As you've seen from the videos, it's amazing. If you can afford it, I suggest it. It's such a useful tool when learning this stuff. So that's it. Have a good day.